Hey guys, what's going on, man? So we're about to start up a episode.
Yeah, we're stuffing our face with some Burger King first.
Right now we're stuck on our face with Burger King. We should start being sponsored by Burger King.
That's right.
BK, make it happen.
So we're going to be doing our best to do a video aspect to every episode now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. YouTube,
So-
YouTube, hit the like and follow, subscribe, all that stuff.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna put this to the side so I'm not chewing in everybody's ear.
So, one thing that we had noticed is there's been a decent amount of views on our last video. We really appreciate everybody who had tuned in. We promised to have more content for you, and we promised to have some really awesome stuff going on. You want to tell them about something new that just happened for Comic Crooks?
Are you talking about our hats?
I'm talking about the hats.
Yeah, we got some. Look at our Facebook page. There's some pictures of them.
Yes, sir.
But working through lids, right?
Yes, sir.
So it should be pretty awesome. We got a lot of cool colors, a lot of cool designs. So I'm gonna cover this up so you guys can see this.
We're gonna do some merch and stuff like that. So we're starting off with the hats. Hit us up on Facebook for details. We kind of inform you a little bit more about that stuff going on there. Pretty soon we have been talking about going into the t-shirts, where you guys will get the official Comic Crooks logo on the t-shirt and stuff of that nature. But like I said, we're taking it step by step.
Gonna have the comic books authority stamp on it, all that.
So, first off, how are we feeling out there today?
Right. They're finally getting to see us. You know, we did see that on our last video that we posted. We actually got some views,
Right.
which we weren't really expecting, which is pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the cool thing about the video aspect is this behind the scenes. You guys are gonna get to see us like sit here and eat. You know, not that you want to see us eat food, but this is our process. You know, we got some beers, got some food. We picked out a cool topic today, which you guys will find out when we hit record, which you YouTube people will be sitting there as we hit record, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll definitely be doing a lot more stuff as far as the beginning of the process and stuff of that nature with more of the videos that we put out. So you guys will definitely be getting some things that we won't talk about on the podcast. You guys get some exclusives about. There's some things that we like to talk about.
Yeah, talking about setting up a booth at Comic-Con that's coming up here. Hanging out with John motherfucking Lehman. Yeah, like somehow we made a friend. That just blows my mind. At the end of that recording, he's like, "Hey guys, I would like to touch base with you every couple months."
Yeah.
And he encouraged me on my writing and just all kinds of crazy shit. So, but yeah, we're gonna hit record here in a couple minutes.
All right. I'm ready. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna stuff my face one more nugget.
Here's one more nugget. Yes, sir.
And as you guys can see, the Nerdy Bone Studio is very DIY. It's my house. There's my Ranger helmets.
Oh yeah, you got everything. Huh?
Yeah.
Got the Wolverine threaded poster, very nice.
My trusty steed right here with my Flash hoodie on it.
Yeah, there's gonna be some really cool things coming up.
Yeah.
I want to say it so bad, but I'm gonna wait off. We have some really cool guests that are gonna be popping up.
Well,
and,
I'll go ahead and drop their first names, and you can put it together from there. Their name are Jamie and Paul. So just kind of put that together if you guys know me at all or are a fan of anything that I put out.
And maybe you might not even get anything from that. Cool. And hey, that just means it's a bigger surprise for you. I'll say one thing is
If we're lucky, they're talking about being in studio. So
yeah. So one thing that is really cool about these individuals is they definitely have a lot to do with the underground
just music scene.
I think that's the best clue I can give you. And I think I'm gonna leave it at there because I feel like I already said too much.
Yeah, well, it's grew up like being in a circle of people where I got to get to know them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't want to give any away more than that. But
For a little background, um, so we like to take every victory as a victory, and I kind of want to share that with all the viewers out there, because I kind of want to years down the road where we look down at this video today. I always want us to remain humble,
yes,
and we're truly coming from humble beginnings. And this just all started off with an idea and a conversation,
yeah,
and a connection. You know, that's truly all it started off with. This guy's my brother, man, and it became that way immediately. And it was just crazy because it was not expected. We just had a conversation, and
I was like, "Hey, bro."
Yeah, and so we can't like thank you enough. Like I want to stress how much we are very grateful for every view, and like we can't. Well, one day we hope to get even more, right?
Yeah,
But every one of those views mean everything to us.
yeah.
I don't think we're ever gonna allow one another to be like, oh, like 100 views is like whatever, and like we need more. Like every single one of those views is always gonna mean the world to us.
Well, like every single view is like an endorphin rush for me.
Right.
Like, I'm like, oh shit, that's
Yeah.
people are actually listening and people are actually watching. They give a fuck
sure.
about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty cool. I've had this studio in my house about 6 years. And it's just pretty awesome. You know what I mean? Like everything about it's exciting.
Yeah.
I've got the opportunity to record with some amazing people, and unfortunately we don't collaborate as much anymore. But I actually was gonna, you guys out there watching on YouTube, there is a Nerdy Bones channel, which is like the Nerdy Bones Studios, and I might be doing a couple like solo episodes of my serial killer stuff, which just doesn't really fit on the Comic Crooks page. So I'm probably gonna just do some, like I've been doing some reading, a couple new kind of crazy people that are kind of new to me, which is strange because I thought I've heard of everybody. So I've got one that I'm writing out right now is a guy named Gary Heinrich. If you're familiar with him, if you guys are a fan of that, check out the Nerdy Bones page, and then vice versa. You know what I mean? So,
and also there's we have a project that we're doing on the Nerdy Bones channel. We have yet to get kicked into gear, honestly, but we are coming up with something really cool.
Yeah.
It's gonna be almost like a
noir.
radio audio comic book.
Mm-hmm.
With characters that came from the brain of Keith, and then collaborated with me. I collaboration and stuff like that.
Well, I would call you a co-creator.
We're putting together something pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited about. You guys think about it as like kind of like an H.G. Wells War of the Worlds style presentation, but it's going to be a noir detective story with superheroes. And I think it's going to be pretty cool.
Or not superheroes.
Or not superheroes, or whatever we decide to call them, or
Yeah.
anything.
This universe is going to be based in the 20s.
Yes.
And it's going to have a lot of the things that I feel like is missing in a lot of storylines. I really miss detective work. I really miss figuring out what's going on in the brain of the person they're trying to chase. What's really the motive? What's going on? Just from the things that we talked about, it has a lot of twists, a lot of turns, and I think it's going to really be a thriller.
Well, and we're going to use the audio medium to paint a picture in your brain. Like, one of the things I was thinking about when I've been starting to write stuff down is, like, I want the listener to be able to close their eyes and just 100% be immersed.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty cool. I've got some, between the two of us, we've got some really cool ideas.
Some crazy ideas.
Yeah.
And then maybe even, because we had spoke about even making it into some sort of animation version of it. So for those who are a little bit more visually, like they learn a little bit better visually, and they like seeing the visuals and stuff like that. At some point, we're definitely thinking about making that happen. So really cool stuff. That's pretty much what we had to talk about from what I remember.
Yeah.
Just we have quite a bit more stuff that we can talk about. Quite a bit. But let's get into this recording, man.
Okay, so I'm gonna hit this real quick. All right, guys, we just took a little break to get our stuff together. About to hit record. All right, brother. All right, so you guys are getting ready to hit record. This is another YouTube video precursing to the episode itself.
Mm-hmm.
The episode can be found on Spotify, Podbean. Still kind of working on Apple. That's just kind of a pain in the butt, but yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so you ready, brother?
Yes, I am.
All right. All right, guys, you're along for the ride. Here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Comic Crooks family, we're back at it with another banger, man. We were sitting here and we were talking about what would be a good topic today, and we're kind of going through the list, and one of them was supervillains.
Scariest villains.
The scariest of them all.
Oh, yeah.
And Lord knows we both came up with quite a list. I think when we think of supervillains, we always think about capes and stuff of that nature. There's a lot more to that. Supervillains just have to be the person being an antagonizer, and
So what makes them scary is what makes them. I've always said that a hero is only as good as his worst villain.
that's fair. I like
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's if a villain can make you feel something, they're doing their job. You know, as far as storytelling. So you want to start off?
Yeah, so I'm actually gonna go in a direction a lot of people wouldn't even think about. This is not the first on my list, but I think this is one of the most bizarre ones. But he's pretty crazy. Is actually him from the Powerpuff Girls.
Nice, dude. I would have never thought about
He's
that.
a demonic character. For those who don't know, he's a demonic character in the Powerpuff Girls who consistently causes trouble for the Powerpuff Girls, makes them do a whole bunch of routine crazy shit just to play his mindful game. He's turned into different forms.
He wears a tutu, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and he spits excited acid, some shit like that. And he's one of the actually most profound villains in Townsville. And even the episodes that he ends in, they even say, the narrator is like, no, oh no, not this guy. He's so evil, you can only name him by him.
I always loved Mojo Jojo. Oh.
Yeah, he over explains everything.
Yeah.
I will have a conversation with you. One that will be conversational with words that you will understand.
I'm higher than you. Maybe if you were as high as me, you could get me. Ha.
Yeah, Mojo Jojo was the shit too. But that's where I'm starting off. Is I'm gonna do him.
All right, so my start is Cad Bane.
Nice.
I'm a big fan of Star Wars. It's no secret, but Cad Bane just seems to be one of those characters you just cannot get away from.
Yeah.
And that's what makes him scary for me. Is just no matter what, he's always there. He's always a faster draw.
Mm-hmm.
And he's I'm sure you've seen.
He showed up in the Book of
Boba Fett,
yeah.
which and that's what made me think of him because I last night I watched The Crazies.
Oh yeah.
And it has the same actor that plays I forget the character's name, but he was a Mandalorian and took his armor off, and he's a sheriff of the town or whatever, and he just does the draw and boom, and he's dead. Mm-hmm. So Cad Bane for me is a scary villain just because he's
a good one.
Well, his whole demeanor is like, you're not faster than me.
Yeah.
You're not faster than me. You know what I mean? So yeah, Cad Bane is my number one.
I dig that. That was really tight. All right, so I'm gonna go to Maestro.
Oh yeah, from the Hulk.
The Hulk.
Yeah.
So this is a multi-version of Hulk where he is a villain, and he's completely lost his mind. He has no recollection of even who Banner is.
Yeah, it doesn't care.
He doesn't care about that. It's Hulk, and he's full on. He actually kills every Avenger and most of the X-Men in that universe. He's pretty much killing everybody with abilities. Mm-hmm. He's literally the king of all kings.
Oh, and he's thought of
his dimension.
He's thought of everything.
Yeah, and he's also a genius.
Yeah, he's thought of everything.
A dangerous man, dangerous being.
I recently was reading the one with him and Doctor Doom, where Doom teleports into his lair, and one of Maestro's sidekicks helps Doom figure stuff out, and then they trap Maestro in in an electrical cage. I forget how they get out, but of course he gets out. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's scary because like he even plays into the Old Man Logan because he's even in that.
Yeah. He's also scary because it's also the fucking Hulk and he's evil. So that alone, I mean, is a very scary thought. What do you got next?
Of course, I'm going to go with Silence of the Lambs. So the one I want to go off with the top is, of course, Mr. Lecter, but we've talked about him before.
Yes, sir.
So what I want to talk about is Buffalo Bill. And puts the lotion on his skin, or else it gets the hose again.
I like that.
Yeah, so
yes, sir.
he's very sadistic. Like I remember the first scene in the movie where he actually captures somebody he's pretending to have a broken arm, and you know where they got that from? Ted Bundy. Because I've actually got some stuff we're gonna go into that we're gonna go into later about real life inspirations. You know, like for like
some of the villains.
Yeah. But that was a trick that Ted Bundy used. And then I forget the year. I want to say it was '93 that Silence of the Lambs came out. Mm-hmm. So stuff was still kind of you could be a little bit more liberal with the stuff he did on screen. So Buffalo Bill was transgender.
Yeah.
And also, so one of the big things about him is he was based. His other basis is Ed Gein.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get in. The more we go into this list, but of course he keeps the woman in the bottom of a well. And he's like making out with his dog, and what's the it gets the hose again. Like that's just scary.
Or when he peels off the person's face and puts it as a mask.
That's Ed Gein. Yeah.
And he's like, "Would you fuck me?"
I'd fuck me.
I'd fuck me. Yeah, it's a pretty psycho thing. So a lot of this is what we're basing off is like, how afraid would you be if you had a real life encounter? Some of these are obviously fictional characters, but put yourself in a situation if this was legit and you had interactions with these characters. How fucking terrifying!
How scary it would be.
Yeah.
So like for me, I put Hannibal Lecter as like an honorable mention because he's just an obvious choice.
I had that on my list as well because you really can't escape Hannibal.
No, he's just too smart.
And you can't beat him because he's already 12 steps ahead of you.
Yeah, he's already gone through the scenario.
I said this in a previous episode. I said he's the definition of a wolf in sheepskin because he'll play coy. He'll play that you have the upper hand on him. But in reality, it's all part of his scheme. He's 12 steps ahead of you.
Clarice.
He's not trapped. You're trapped.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So that's the craziest part about him.
Well, the thing is, he knows it. Mm-hmm. He knows it.
Oh, he's a genius. That's a good one. I really like that one. So this one we both had on the list. I don't even need to say. So it's Darth Vader.
Oh yeah,
he's the OG of
he's
darkness, man. He's the OG.
He is the epitome of evil. He just, as soon as we started thinking about this, the first one I wrote down was Darth Vader.
It's the first one I thought about. Darth Vader.
We even used this theme song to open this episode. It is what it is. Darth Vader is Darth fucking Vader.
Right, and so. To me, what makes him so scary is he doesn't have limits.
And he doesn't try.
Yeah.
And he doesn't
have a moral compass. It's all based off what he wants to get done. And by any means necessary, he'll get that done. And when he did the Order 66, right, he killed kids. He literally killed them with his bare hands. Without hesitation.
Yeah. And then when he fought his son, he cut him apart. And
yeah.
Still, given he did lose to Luke, but that's because he kind of chose to. If you go back and watch it, he kind of chose to.
Well, he helps him out a little bit. He helps him out against the Emperor. Yeah. So,
he could have won that fight easily.
And he's completely rage-filled.
Yeah.
He's completely rage-filled, and it's almost a villain you can kind of understand why he's rage-filled. He's given so much to the Jedi Order, and only wanted the same respect as everybody on that council. That was really the main. Yeah. Only wanted the same respect, but they feared his ability because the truth was, if he had became a Jedi, he was gonna be the strongest Jedi that ever fucking lived.
Yeah, exactly.
And by a long shot, and he was. That was his destiny.
Yeah.
But he went to the dark side. You know what I mean? And
there's a reason that. The dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
There's a reason that holds core with anybody that's ever even people that haven't seen Star Wars.
For sure, yeah, you know who Darth Vader is.
Yeah, he's the ultimate bad guy. Yeah. So as far as numerically goes, he's number one on my list, but he's not.
I mean, that's fair. I definitely there's tons of people I have on this list, and I don't know if I would even. I don't even know if
they could hold a candle.
I mean, it's Darth Vader, man. I mean, it's Darth Vader. That's about it. What you got going on yours?
So the next one I have is the Entity from Army of Darkness. You know, it's the way it's represented in the movies is just a camera following the character, and it's like the sound of like, "Rah, rah," and they're just like running away from it, and they can see it,
But
but
we never get to see
but
it.
as a viewer, you can't see it. Like they'll even pan back, and it's just the character running away, and it's just, "Rah, rah," and it's like ripping through doors and knocking trees down, and then well, because it's all through Evil Dead.
Yeah.
It's all through Evil Dead. Like in Evil Dead 1, when Ash is running away to his car and it picks him up. It picks him up and like slams him through the trees. And then he wakes up in a puddle and he's possessed. You remember that?
Yep.
He wakes up and he's possessed and he's like walking around as a Deadite and then sees his girlfriend and fights it off. You know, so the entity is from that just basically to me is basically like the Exorcist. It's a demon.
Right.
It's a Deadite. It's the most evil of evil of evil.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you know, and the way I've always looked at it, watching the Army of Darkness movies, Evil Dead movies, like maybe they can't see it. Maybe they just feel it. And that's why that's just why they're running. You know what I mean? Like in Army of Darkness, when he's running from it and he's like jumping over trees and dodging and this, that, and the other thing, and then closes the door on that windmill. And then the scene is he's holding the door on the windmill and they show it from the outside and there's nothing out there. But he's holding the door, and the door's like pounding in, and he's like, you know, the door's like pounding and pounding and pounding, and then it still makes its way in. You remember? Because he breaks off in all those other little ashes, and then he like drinks the hot water, and badass, good Ash, I'm the guy with the gun, you know. Or no, it's London Bridge is falling down.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think the entity is particularly scary because you can't see it.
Right.
But you can feel it, you know, and you all these movies.
You can't defeat it. Yeah.
Well, there's no touching it.
Yeah.
There's no shotgun. There's no nothing. It's there. It's the entity.
So based off what you just said, I'm actually gonna go through a couple of them that just kind of came to head. Just honorable mentions. I didn't really put them on the list, but like the demon that possesses Annabelle would definitely be one of those. Babadook.
The Babadook. Yeah.
Same ordeal. The Nun.
Drag Me to Hell, which is another Sam Raimi movie.
Yep. So anything with that, those kind of fall in that category. That was a good one. So this is kind of picking up off a little bit. So in the new Puss in Boots movie,
I haven't seen that yet.
it's so fucking tight. It actually is a really good movie. The main villain, is this wolf assassin, right?
Nice.
And he is so fucking threatening. It's actually, he's completely scary. But it's only until the end where you, like, I mean, I kind of picked up, because I'm just kind of that guy. I can pick up things pretty fast with movies. But only till the end where it's revealed why he's so fucking scary. Is because he's the personification of death.
Oh, wow.
And he was after Puss in Boots. So literally, and he would fuck him up, and he like in this the eyes would glow red, and he's getting your face like like it's fucking scary. I mean, he's probably one of the most intimidating villains, and out of newer movies that came out,
especially a Disney movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to show you because you're gonna be like, holy shit. So that one I put down there. I thought he was really crazy.
I'm gonna have to watch that.
Yes, sir. It was good. So what you got going on?
So to follow up that one, I'm gonna have to say the Nothing from Neverending Story.
Absolutely.
Like we just we were like looking for clips to open the episode up with, and I pulled that up, and it's like, why is everybody dying? It's because nobody dreams anymore. Nobody remembers to forget their dreams, and he's just a wolf. You know,
vicious wolf.
There's just something scary about a talking wolf that is.
Well, his eyes were piercing, and his teeth was just like the way he talks to you is like he was ready to eat you.
Yeah,
that's the scariest shit.
It's like Little Red Riding Hood. There's a reason that the wolf is scary in that. You know, like wolves are ingrained in our DNA to be afraid of, just like snakes.
For sure.
So it's just like the way he's talking to Atreyu, you know, and then like they're running from him, and you can hear like the what do you call it, the paw beats in the background and shit, like, and they're just running from, and his name is the Nothing.
Yeah.
Like, come on, that's scary as fuck.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So what do you got next?
That was a good one too. So I have Batman that laughs. Who
The
laughs?
Batman who laughs. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
He's next level.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's crazy.
he effectively changed the DC universe.
Yeah,
Because of him, everything is canon.
yeah.
Because every single thing.
So
is
that's
canon.
part of my thing. Is his power level is ridiculous. Ridiculous. It's nuts. And then also it's everything you fear from Joker, and then everything you fear from Batman. Because the reality is, if you
he's
like
Bruce Wayne.
Batman, you fear Batman too.
Yeah.
The Batman's not a superhero. I'm telling you, he's not fully a superhero. In my opinion, Batman is an anti-hero.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like the Batman who laughed becomes the Darkest Knight. He finds a universe where Bruce Wayne becomes Dr. Manhattan instead of John, and then he actually sits there and watches. And as soon as he gains the powers, he stabs him in the brain, and he kills his brain, and then keeps his body, and then has his brain transplanted into that body, making effectively him Dr. Manhattan, and he calls himself the Darkest Knight. He fights Perpetua. Like, it's this whole fucking thing. He chases down all the speedsters.
Yep.
And it's fucking insane, man.
I want to pick up after what you just said. He chases down the speedster, and this is still DC. So this is on my list. I just kind of want to bust them out. Is Reverse Flash is one of them.
Scary as fuck.
And then Black Death Flash is one of them.
Yes, the Black Flash is definitely the scariest.
Yeah.
Because he can, the Black Flash can erase you from existence.
Yeah.
Can just absolutely erase you from existence.
And then his appearance on top of it. I mean,
he's all zombified.
you don't.
and
Yeah,
shit.
you don't want to just look at that man.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like I said, this is a lot more about like, if you were to come across these people, IRL, how would you, How
Well,
would
and
react?
then Ubar Thon, the Reverse Flash.
Yeah.
He's no joke, man. Like,
No, he's not.
He created the Flash on accident.
Pretty much.
From going back in time and trying to stop the Flash from being created.
Yep.
So him going back in time to stop Barry from getting the Speed Force actually caused him to get the Speed Force. Like, he framed Barry's dad for killing his mother.
Yeah. Oh no, he's a dangerous man.
Yeah.
He's a dangerous man. You can't trust him even if you're on the villain side
No.
because in the Flashpoint movie, the first thing that happens in
He's
the
got
first
that big
5
hole
minutes,
in his head.
yeah, is that he put bombs. Futuristic because he's from the future, so he put futuristic bombs on every single one of the what are they called? The
Injustice, the Injustice League, I think is what it is.
Yeah. So he put it on like Boomerang, Dr. Freeze, all those guys.
Yeah.
He put it on every single one of them. And they're like, when did you do that? He's like, the moment you walked through the fucking door. Like, he has no loyalty to a side. He has his own.
Well, because in that storyline, he's actually slowing himself down to stop dying as fast because he's been shot in the head.
Yeah.
Thomas Wayne shot him in the head, and he's got a
Yep.
fucking hole through his brain.
Mm-hmm.
He's like literally dying a second at a time.
Yep.
And he's like trying to figure out how to fix that.
Yeah, it's crazy as shit. So that was my. So what do you got going on? Because I kind of.
Lord Zed. Yeah, dude. I remember being a 10-year-old and thinking like, oh, Rita Repulsa is the most scary thing out there. Then you get Lord Zed, this guy that you can see his muscles and bones and his fucking brain on the top of his head.
Oh yeah.
You know, like oh, the Power Rangers.
Hell yeah.
It's like, man, this fucking guy is scary.
That's tight. I'm glad you went Power Ranger way, bro.
Yeah, you know, he had a big Z on top of his head and had a
Yep.
staff with a Z, and he was just way more ruthless than Rita ever was.
By a long shot.
Yeah, because he was actually Zordon's friend. If you read the comic
Yeah.
books, he was Zordon's friend, and it has something to do with the Zeo crystals or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But Lord Zed's definitely on my list because he's
Well,
he's
in one of
scary
the
one.
comics, Rita is actually the original Green Ranger.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, she was the actual original Green Ranger. So I didn't put this on the list, but there is a alternative Green Ranger where he is evil and it's Dracon.
Lord Draken.
Lord Draken.
Yeah.
That's gonna be on the list too. I'm gonna have to throw that in there.
Yeah, Lord Draken's
Yeah.
he's a gangster, dude.
Hell yeah.
His whole thing is he goes through the morphing grid and kills all the Rangers from every part of
Any timeline,
and
multiverse.
absorbs their powers.
Yeah, he's fucking nuts. Yeah, he's a beast, bro.
Yeah, he's got a white suit, but it's the dragon helmet, and it's
It's tight, bro.
yeah.
What do you got?
The Violator from Spawn. Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude, the Violator was always one. Like I read Spawn as a kid, but it was John Leguizamo that brought him to life for me. You know, in the movie, the 1994 movie. So Spawn, he's our man. If he can't do it, no one can.
Oh, he fucking killed it, dude. Are you
Yeah.
serious? I had my wife watch that, and she was just like blown. As soon as I showed her the actor, and she, get the fuck, that's him? I said, yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my God, he killed this shit.
They were talking to him about coming back for the Jamie Foxx one.
Why not?
Yeah, it's like as the Violator. If you guys have never read Spawn comic book, like how do you explain what the Violator looks like? He's
just
tall,
chunky.
Well, that's as the clown, he's a chunky.
Yeah.
But as the
He's
Violator,
a tall, demonic,
bony,
alienated,
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah, he's a morpher. He morphs into
yeah,
things.
the Violator is particularly scary for me
Yeah, hell yeah.
because even Spawn can't fuck with him.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
So what's next for you?
So I got Symbiotic Galactus.
Oh, okay.
So there's a comic, I forget what Earth it's from. It's pretty much where the Venom symbiote goes on Galactus. Galactus alone on this list should be top 5.
Yeah.
With the fucking symbiote on, I mean, that's another level, just crazy.
Yeah. So you make me think of Null.
The Null is also the symbiote guy, which is a pretty scary dude as well.
And then Eddie gets that power. After his son kills Null.
Yep.
I forget his son's name. Dwight or
Something of that nature.
Yeah.
So Galactus is an earth-eating being.
He's got the Silver Surfer as his bitch, basically.
Yeah. And so there's a comic where he literally gets the symbiote, and it's just next level. He's already a threat that beat every single Marvel character in one of the comics, and it actually took Blue Marvel to save the whole Marvel.
And Blue
universe.
Marvel is no joke.
And he's a powerhouse.
Yeah.
He's a powerhouse. I would love to see him in the MCU. Kevin Feige, if you hear me, put Blue Marvel in the MCU. He was in the Marvels.
Yeah.
He was in the Marvel movie.
It'd be silly not to bring him in.
He is a spouse of Monica Rambeau. And Monica Rambeau will be featuring in the movie The Marvels.
Oh, okay.
So if you guys don't take that opportunity, Marvel, I will be pissed.
You better fucking listen.
So that's what I got so far. I actually got some more. What you got going on?
Marlo from 30 Days a Night.
Shit, I don't even think about it.
Okay, so 30 Days a Night, guys out there, if you haven't seen it, it takes place in Barrow, Alaska, where the sun is gone for 30 days. So this ancient tribe of vampires decide this is a perfect place to go feed. So they show, and the cool thing about these vampires, they're not your classic like two-fanged, they're like shark teeth.
Yeah.
And so they're there for a few days and they're like wiping out the community. Like one of my favorite scenes is like an aerial shot, and the vampires just run by swiping people, and there's blood splattering, but there's a scene where the vampires decide to start using people as bait to bring out the people that are hiding in buildings and stuff. So they have this girl out there she's got a cut on her Achilles heel, so she can't run, and she's out walking through the streets going hello, like trying to get humans to come out. And then they realize that no humans are going to come out. And then Marlo comes walking up with his shark face. And she's like crying. She goes, God, help me. God, help me. And Marlo spits on the ground and goes, God, no God. And it's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
he like looks up to the sky as he's saying it and shit. And oh my God, dude.
Yeah, it's scary.
Dude.
Yeah.
Dude, Marlo's no joke. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
So that's why I like to pick my villains for this list is like when it feels just hopeless.
Right.
It just feels like because the only way they beat them in that movie is becoming vampires themselves.
Yeah.
That's the only way that they take out that clan.
And that's not really even.
And that's not winning.
Yeah, that's not really winning. Yeah. So Romulus, I'm probably saying Romulus. I don't know how to pronounce his name very well. He's a villain of Wolverine and Daken, his son. He's a powerhouse character that not a lot of Marvel fans know about. He's only been in a couple comics, but he's a fucking animal.
I haven't seen him yet.
He's a fucking animal. He takes on Wolverine and Dakin at the same time, and he honestly whoops most of their ass most of the fight.
Whoops their whole ass.
Yeah, like most of the fight. He actually takes in Dakin for quite a bit, and manipulates Dakin, by kind of like utilizing the fact that Logan hasn't really been in his life, and stuff like that. So he kind of becomes a second father to Dakin. But he is just a powerhouse. He has claws that come from the same places of Wolverine, but actually his pinky and thumb, and he's just a giant animal. Like he's just like, and he just whoops their ass. It's like it's really.
I haven't seen that.
Please look it up. Please look into it. Read those comics. I think he has about 5 comics he showed face in, maybe a little bit more, but he's not really a very popular Marvel character. He is an animal, and I can't. And that's a character but as I was writing this down, I said this out loud. I was like, if they don't put this in the MCU, they're tripping. When we get our MCU Wolverine, this needs to be one of the big bads. This dude makes Sabretooth look like a fucking pussy. This Sabretooth is not even a villain compared to what this dude is.
Victor Creed.
Like, it's nuts. Creed. Can I say one thing? Because he just said Victor. So, one of the villains I put down was actually Ivan Drago.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I break you.
Yeah. And even in the Creed 2 movie, his son is in it, and he's a Drago as well. And they're fucking scary because
Dolph Lundgren,
they're
man.
ruthless.
It's Dolph Lundgren. He's a big motherfucker.
But also, his son in the movie is ruthless. Have you ever seen Creed 2?
No.
He fights his son.
That's crazy. Yeah.
He comes back, and even Rocky in the movie's like kind of like shook a little bit, like because Drago's like, and he pops up. He's
I
like,
break you.
He's like, what are you doing in Philly? And he's like, pretty much like, I'm coming to burn everything down. And like, he's like telling Creed, the young Creed, he's like, listen, like you don't get it. These guys are no joke. Like the Dragos are no joke. Like these guys. He's like, you don't understand, Ruthless. These guys grew up in the darkness. These guys are the darkness. You want to talk about cold? They grew up cold. They're cold. They're the savage of savages. The Dragos are a fucking problem. So if you guys don't understand to what extent I'm speaking of, watch Creed 2. That's all I got to say. Watch Creed 2.
The third one's about to come out.
And I can't wait.
Yeah.
Jonathan Majors has been killing it this year. Shout out to Jonathan Majors, and that's another villain, Kane the Conqueror.
Oh, that's right.
Killing it. So what do you got going on, bro?
Damien from The Omen. Damien Thorne from The Omen. Have you watched many of the Omen movies?
I've only watched one of them.
The first one's the only one. The first one's the only one that matters.
Yeah, I think
that's the only one that matters. It's just so fucking scary. He's literally the son
of the little kid, right?
He's the son of the devil.
Yep.
You know, like there's a scene where he throws his mother off a banister, and they try to take him into a church, and he starts biting everybody. Like they literally pull up in a limousine to go to church. Yeah. And he starts freaking out and biting his dad on the hands, and and they shave his head, and he's got 666 on his fucking head. And then there's a scene where because he basically causes chaos around everything that he's around. His energy causes chaos.
Yeah.
So like in the opening of the movie, there's this truck carrying plates of glass, like big flat planes of glass, and it's going up a hill. And because he's there, the truck loses its brakes and it starts to slide backwards down the hill. And then just this collision happens, and a plane of glass just slides off clean, like flies off the back.
Takes man's body.
Takes it off at the head. Ooh. And it's such a cool visual because it like takes this guy off at the head, and his head just is like spinning as the glass slides because it's like in slow motion. So it like cuts his head off, and this guy's head's come loose, and it's just like spinning as the glass like passes by. And he just screams, he bites, he fucking kills. Like, shit. He literally his mother was trying to catch him, and they were on the top banister, and he fucking held her over the side and just threw her off. And you're like, wow.
That sounds scary.
Boom.
That should have been our intro.
So, But yeah, Damien, he's up there. Dude, Damien's fucking scary.
Yeah, that sounds scary as fuck. So this is a 3-for-all. I mean, this is like a 3-for-1. That's what I meant. So I have obviously Homelander.
Yeah.
He's pretty much, for those who don't know, he's pretty much the equivalent of Superman. Has all his abilities, except he doesn't have any moral compass, and he's very
Righteous.
righteous. Yeah, everything's about him, and if it's not, he'll make it about him because he'll take everything else out of the picture, so he's the last thing there to make sure it's about him.
Until Soldier Boy comes up and kicks his ass.
Fucks his ass up. Yeah. So this is what I mean by a 1 for 3. In that, I'm gonna put Brightburn as well.
So
Brightburn
good.
is
so good.
a variation of Superman. It's actually a direct variation of Superman. A lot of people didn't catch on to that. At the very end of the movie Brightburn, they made comments to alternative versions of DC characters.
Right.
So they said, "Oh, it's like that guy who's in the ocean and blah blah."
Yeah.
It's an evil version of some sort of Aquaman. So, so he pretty much, instead of he was sent to Earth, right? But not because his planet was dying. It's because he was sent to conquer Earth. This is a boy who is highly powerful and has all the powers of Superman. Instead of it being CC, it's BB.
Yeah.
Like Clark Kent, I forget his name is something B, something. Well, anyways, it's double B. And he's very it's almost like unconsciously he's very attached to his homeland. And it's only when he gets to a particular age when it kicks in where his mission is very, very clear.
I think the best scene is when he puts his hand on the lawnmower.
Oh yeah.
And the lawnmower just breaks around his hand and he's like
yeah. And so he's also a stalker and a killer and everything Superman is not a pervert. He's a pervert.
Yeah.
And he's a fucking demonic kid with all the abilities of Superman. So that's the second part. And the third one is directly the evil version of Superman from Injustice.
I thought you were going to say Omni-Man.
That's a good one too. So I guess a 4 because Omni-Man has the same abilities as Superman, but he is evil.
Yeah.
He even proves it by beating the living fuck, almost killing his son.
Yeah.
And he didn't stop because he got a sudden sense of consciousness and said, "Oh, I'm not gonna." It had to be people that actually helped his son defeat Omni-Man himself.
Yeah. The 7, I think is what they were called.
Yeah. So so that one, and then also, like I was saying, the Injustice Superman, which is the storyline where Joker pretty much puts an elixir on Superman where he visualizes Lois Lane, who is actually pregnant, is actually Doomsday. And she is not. And by the time he realizes it, Joker already put fucking bombs in Metropolis, blew up all Metropolis, and Superman killed his pregnant wife with his bare hands.
Yeah.
And then he goes and finds Joker.
He puts his arm through Joker.
All the way, out. And puts his arm all the way through Joker. Which finally starts his parade of just going through and eliminating anyone who's evil.
Yeah.
He takes justice and execution in his own hands. He doesn't give anybody the chance. And so he draws a very fine line of what's good and evil.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah, and if you think about the abilities of Superman in any sort of iteration evil, that's fucking terrifying. Superman with his bare hands can rip the world in half.
Right, exactly.
Without even breaking a sweat, and I'm serious.
Yeah.
He actually holds back from harming his villains when he beats the fuck out of them.
Well, it's like in the Dark Side versus Superman story.
Yep.
He says what does he say? You can take it, big boy, because he's like he says I feel like I live in a world made of cardboard, but you can take it, can't you? And, like that's such a sick ass line, bro.
Yep.
And then he fucking punches Dark Side so hard that it just like warps time and shit. It's like it's like bro, because I have Dark Side written down.
Yeah, and I have Doomsday, so that was kind of...
All right, so my next one, I'm trying to decide which one I want to do next. I'm going to say Angel Eyes from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Nice.
You know, so he for me was the first movie villain I ever saw. The yeah, so he's just an evil motherfucker because the opening of the movie, he goes into this guy's house that he thinks might know where the gold is, and he shoots his son, shoots his wife, sits there with him and eats food that his family just made, and then shoots him, and then leaves. Yeah. And then in the next scene, he goes to another guy that he thinks he might know where the gold is, and he holds a fucking pillow over his face and shoots him through the pillow. You know.
Yeah, he's ruthless.
And then there's that classic scene at the end where they're all three of them are standing in the graveyard, and wah, that's what that's from.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just that's one of my favorite movies of all time. The Angel Eyes. The actor's name was Levon Cleef. Nice. Yeah, you know, that movie came out in 1966. So,
that was definitely a good one, bro. Yeah. So mine on my next list is Dr. Doom.
There you go.
This man has been such a threat that even gods has stepped in to try to stop him. Dr. Doom is no fucking joke. So if Dr. Doom is done the way he should be done in the MCU, he's probably one of the most dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
One of the most dangerous in comic book history. Not even talking about Marvel. He can probably go to any dimension of comic book and completely rule.
Oh, yeah.
He's so fucking powerful, it's unbelievable.
What is intelligence alone?
He'll figure anything out.
Well, he became a more effective Iron Man than Tony Stark.
Yeah.
It just happened.
Yeah. He's completely almost equivalent to the gods in the MCU.
Yeah.
In the Marvel universe. And he would take over if he went to DC. He would take over if he went to Variant. He would take over if he went to Dark Horse or Image Comics. It really doesn't matter. He is such a powerhouse. So if MCU takes on him, I hope that they take it on as, like, this is not fucking Thanos.
Yeah.
Like, he would fuck up Thanos.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
This is not Thanos. This is a problem. He's an animal.
Well, he's technically one of the oldest Marvel villains, period.
Yeah. Well, because he showed up in the first family of Marvel and the first comics of Marvel when they were named Marvel. Finally, was the Fantastic Four. So he is the first one of the first Marvel villains. Do you have anything?
Yeah, my next one is the Saint of Killers from Preacher. Not familiar with Preacher?
Not familiar.
So Preacher is a comic book written by Garth Ennis. He did a lot of I'm drawing a blank, but he wrote Doom Patrol.
Okay.
So so Preacher is this guy that his name is Jonathan. Drawing a blank at all the specifics, but he gets the word of God. So his whole power is he can tell you to do something and you cannot not do it.
So he controls you.
Yeah. So but the Saint of Killers, because basically God disappears. That's his whole story, is that God disappears, and he's a Catholic preacher.
Right.
So God disappears, and he gets the word of God, and God's powers get spread out. So there's this guy named the Saint of Killers that goes around and cannot be killed, and he's basically a cowboy with like 6 shooters, and he just goes around wiping out all the people that got the powers of God. And Jesse is the main character. Jesse is the preacher's name. But one of my favorite scenes from the TV show and the book is that when it opens up, Jesse, he's just got done doing a sermon. And so he travels with an Irish vampire named Cassidy, and so I forget his girlfriend's name, but she's an assassin and all this. But they're getting chased down the highway, and Jesse's like, pull over. So they pull over, and there's all these helicopters and tanks and shit. And Jesse raises his hand like this, and he goes, down, and all the fucking helicopters just smash to the ground, and the fucking tanks go flat.
Damn, that just sounds crazy.
Yeah, I can't believe you haven't seen Preacher, bro.
Nah, man, that just sounds great. You know what? Hold on. Is there a movie like that with Nicolas Cage?
No.
Okay, because there's something like that I seen with Nicolas Cage that was similar to that. Not that exact one, but yeah, that sounds fucking nuts. That sounds crazy. So another one I put in there is the Juggernaut.
Oh yeah.
He's fucking
the Avatar,
powerhouse.
The Avatar of Carteret.
Yeah, he's fucking Juggernaut, man. I mean, he's like 8 foot tall. Like,
Once he,
1,000 pounds.
well, once he starts,
Powerful as
once he
fuck.
starts moving, it's physically impossible to stop him from moving.
Yeah.
That's the basis of his power. Like, there's nothing that can stop him from moving.
Yeah, he's literally unstoppable. So, I mean, if that thing charges at you, and that's a big motherfucker, and he's like,
I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
he's a fucking powerhouse. So he's very scary. So,
Sidorak. He's the avatar of Sidorak.
yes. Yeah. And then Trigon.
From Titans. Yeah.
Yeah. So Raven's father is a very powerful demon.
He's a multi-dimensional demon too.
Multi-dimensional, yes. And actually, Justice League actually had to bring Trigon in just to stop Darkseid.
Yeah, well, because Darkseid's a beast.
Yeah. So, I mean, that kind of says everything you need to know about Trigon. He's an animal.
So I've got a couple of honorable mentions I kind of want to hop over. So Negan from Walking Dead.
Absolutely.
Definitely one of my favorites. The Thing from John Carpenter. Super scary for me. And then Norman Bates.
That's a good one.
Norman Bates is another man based off of Edward Gein. You know, mean old Eddie Gein. So, like, where I was trying to get with this is I want to get into real life villains that influenced media.
For sure.
Yeah, so Edward Gein, Ted Bundy, and John Wayne Gacy all influenced movies. So if it wasn't for those guys, we wouldn't have Michael Myers, we wouldn't have Leatherface, we wouldn't have Jason, wouldn't have Buffalo Bill, wouldn't have Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, for sure.
So yeah,
Sure.
I just wanted to like go off on that little tangent.
No, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we're kind of going deep into this episode, so I'm just kind of go off on my list.
Yeah.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
All right, man. So I did Trigon. We already talked about Doomsday. I got the Green Goblin, but from Miles Morales' universe. In his universe, he's a fucking demon, literally.
Yeah.
He has wings and horns, and he's a demon. So that's pretty scary. Sephiroth from Advent Children, Final Fantasy.
Oh, okay.
He's a whole being of just power, and like he's a fucking animal. Deathstroke. The Phoenix Force. I didn't put anyone in particular because there's been multiple people to get the Phoenix Force, but anybody with the Phoenix Force is a threat.
Scott Summers is my favorite.
I like the Old Man Logan with the Phoenix Force too.
Well, Cyclops is my favorite X-Man. So it's just.
Hell yeah, bro. And then Jigsaw, Red Skull, Wanda.
Wanda. Oh yeah, Wanda's scary as fuck.
She's a scary fucking being. She really is. And then she can manipulate reality itself.
No more mutants.
Too much power for a crazy person.
Yeah.
Wesker.
Wesker from Resident Evil.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And then Ghost Rider. He's not a villain. Excuse me. He's not a villain. But you can't tell me if you were to go face to face with Ghost Rider, you would not be terrified.
Yeah. So the last one that I want to just kind of like tangent on for a second is called the Proto Molecule. This is from The Expanse. So you know I was going to go there.
Yeah.
So the proto-molecule is an alien molecule that repurposes biological mass. So it basically can turn you in from a human into a rib cage with an arm crawling along the ground trying to rearrange your molecules to be something else. You know, so like the proto-molecule in the book took a human being and took a whole space station of people and more or less turn the space station into a living space station with their biological mass. So it was a living thing that could speak. It had memories. It had, you know, because it was all this biological mass put together. And I think that's pretty scary. You know,
that is fucking scary.
You know, it could literally break you down biologically and put you back together as something that looks like something from hell.
That sounds horrifying.
Yeah, so that's where I wanted to leave it off.
That's all we got so far. Did
Yeah.
you guys have any that we forgot to mention?
Well, and to be fair, you know, like we jumped over quite a bit too because we had quite a list.
Yeah. So thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate always you guys listening and stuff like that. Again, hit us up on Facebook. That's what it's there for.
Check us out on YouTube.
Check us up on YouTube. See what we're doing with the merch, man.
Yeah.
Hit us up. Let us know. All right. Thank you guys so much. Take care of each other. Again, our channel is your channel. Much love. Thank you so much. Stay safe. Bye.
Bye. We'll see you guys next time. All right. For you guys on YouTube, we just hit stop, and we'll see you guys next time. Later, guys.